Fantastic. Well, my upbringing wasn't exactly normal. I didn't know that my upbringing wasn't ordinary until later years. And I would share stories and I would get looks like, "Are you for real?" When I was about 7 years old, the Maharaji came to town, and my family, dressed in white, went to the Maharaji with fruit offerings, and that's where we got our mantra. That was in the 60s. I thought that was pretty normal. We never went to doctors. We went to hands-on healers. The only doctors we went to were dentists. And I thought that was pretty normal. My grandmother would take us to seances, channelers, experts on past life regressions, readers of the Akashic records. During the summers, I was tutored by a woman, I'll never forget her, Rosemary Decker, and she would teach me about the mystical world and how to be psychic. I thought all of that was pretty normal. My mom made sure that we had pyramids under our beds, crystals in the windows, and that we took Epsom salt baths to clean our auras. I thought that was pretty normal. There was always a family astrologer from the day I was born, and we didn't do much without consulting her or reading tarot cards or doing the I Ching. Yoga was our preferred form of exercise, and my family was practicing feng shui before people were shuiing their feng. I thought it was all pretty normal. Until it was pointed out to me that, oh no, that is not the way most people have been brought up. So you can imagine that when the New Age movement came to be popular in the 1980s, I was kind of burnt out from all that stuff, and I became very conservative in my way of thinking, and somewhat cynical, if you will. I made strict rules with myself that all of this New Age stuff, all of this paranormal stuff would never enter the church that I was serving. I was to teach only unity, new thought, principles, practical Christianity, sound tools to live a most wonderful life. I made darn certain to keep New Age and unity principles completely separate. However, today may be a little borderline. Last week, I asked God for guidance on today's subject. With the possible war looming in the atmosphere, a type of uncertainty haunts our economics, I asked, "Dear God, what would bring comfort and reassurance to all those who are listening?" And the word angels popped up everywhere, on the side of a truck, the name of a new dog that I met in the neighborhood. My neighbor had a t-shirt that said Angel hot sauce in the grocery store, shelf. It seemed that everywhere that I turned, there was my answer. So I'm coming out of the closet today to let you know I am an angel believer. There, I said it. So here's the deal. Unity doesn't teach about angels. Unity teaches what they call angels divine ideas. And I could only find two references, just two very small references that are unity-based teachings. One from the wisest metaphysician I think I know, Emma Curtis Hopkins, once said in the 1800s, so please excuse the pronoun, she said, "The angel of his presence accompanies every man. The high leadership is every man's heritage. He need not fear dangerous days or vicious circumstances while he is aware that his angel goes before him." The Unity minister, Catherine Ponder, said this, When challenges arise, say to yourself, I have nothing to fear. My guardian angel goes before me, making right my way. Those are the two references. There really isn't anything else in Unity that talks about angels in the way I'm going to be talking about them here today. Unity, however, does use the Bible as one of our primary texts for practical spirituality. And the Bible has over 300 references of angels. Here's one of my favorite. It comes from, I always call it Palms. It's Psalms 91:10, where it says, no evil shall befall you, for he will give his angels charge of you to guard you in all your ways. My family and I have had a lot of personal angelic experiences, and so I know personally for them to be real. So today I'm going to sidestep our usual Unity teaching and remind you that you have more friends in high places than you know. You really do. If the subject of angels is something you don't believe in, don't worry, no big deal. This is not for everyone. That being said, millions of people around the world believe in angels. According to a CBS News poll, 80% of Americans believe in angels, 56% believe they have their own guardian angel, 35% say that they have at one time or another personally experienced an angelic presence in their life. 35%, that's millions of people who have personally had an experience. And if such a thing is a universal idea, it is the belief in angels. Not only do Christians, Jews, Muslims have angels in their beliefs, but Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam does too. Native Americans believe in spirits of a higher realm. And according to all these religions, angels have been with us since the beginning of time. And the main message that angels often share is this: you are not alone. And extraterrestrials will probably say that as well, but as I said, that's part of my upbringing. We won't let it bleed in here. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about angelic spirits in the rooms that he has, where he has his healing workshops. And he said that at first he thought that he was the only one seeing them from the corner of his eye, until others started to report back to him that they also saw these angelic beings. And as a result, great and miraculous healings have happened and continue to happen in those workshops, largely due to these angelic beings. And if you look it up on Google, if you just go Joe Dispenza angelic healings, there's tons of people on there that are talking about these angels that have healed them. So as I looked into stories of angelic interventions, they seem to want you to know that help is always here if we just remember to ask for their intervention on our behalf. You see, because we live here under the grace of free will, we must remember to call on our angelic helpers when we feel lost or scared or alone or need guidance, or even just for everyday comfort, peace, nurturing, well-being. When we ask for assistance, this gives them the consent to intervene and to work on our behalf. Those of you that volunteer here, you know that when we have our morning prayer, you have heard me call forth the angels, the ascended masters, the saints, the guides to fill this sanctuary and our property. So when you walk in here, this space is already packed. It is packed. And we ask for their high service so that something a lot greater than anything that we do up here can happen on an exalted level for this group consciousness. For me personally, I always make it a habit to ask for angels of protection for me and my family. One evening, after a board meeting at my former church, I was driving home and I was at a stoplight. And two other board members, they were in the car behind me. And the light was red, and when it turned green, I couldn't move. My body was frozen. Something took over. Something stopped me from moving. I couldn't press on the gas. I couldn't move. And in that moment, there was a car at a very high speed that ran the red light. And as soon as it passed, that energy just released and I was able to move. Just then the board members called me on my cell and they said that they were just about ready to honk the horn to wake me up to get going. And then they went on to say, you must have an angel watching over you, because if you went through, you would not have survived if you went forward. And then it was so weird, I heard this.
There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is going on. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Ever feel like that before? Sure enough, you have. In my world, I believe that we are surrounded by lots of spiritual assistants, angels, guides, enlightened masters that come to serve us and to support us and to lead us into a most empowering direction. And they guide us through difficult times. They guide us to people, circumstances that will help to achieve a greater sense of peace, a greater sense of purpose. The author, Joan Wester Anderson, who wrote the book Where Angels Walk, tells of her own story in the 1980s, where her son Tim and some other kids were driving back from school, and they were in their 20s. They decided to drive from Connecticut to Chicago for the Christmas holidays. And her husband looked at the weather and called their son, and he said, son, don't come, because the temperature has dropped and the highways are being closed with the winds, the high winds and the snow. Just please don't come. And the kids, they just laughed it off and proceeded. Except they broke down outside of Fort Wayne, Indiana, on an access road. 32 degrees below zero, pitch dark. They sat on the road, on the side of the road, or off the road, no place to go. They realized that they were probably going to freeze to death. No lights in the distance, no lights anywhere. And Tim inwardly began to pray. He asked for help. Then there was this flash of light, and there appeared behind them a tow truck. The guy got out of his truck. He didn't say a word. He hitched the car, towed them with them still in the car, and placed them to safety in Fort Wayne. And when they got out of the car to thank him or to offer to pay, there was no tow truck. There was no tracks in the snow from where they stood. It didn't exist in this third dimension. Joan asked her son, she said, Tim, what time did that man come to rescue you? And Tim said, well, I know that for sure because it was about 2 a.m. I was looking at my watch. Well, at about 1 a.m., his mother, Joan, was worried about him and began to pray. And she said, God, you got to send someone to help my kids. And here's the deal. The kids were still on Eastern Standard Time. So it was 2 a.m. their time. At the very moment that she asked for assistance was the very moment divine help came. Now here's the other thing. Since Joan is an investigative journalist, she wanted to double check. Like, is this for real? So she called the highway patrol, the tow truck services, if there was anything running that night, and all of them said that that there was no rescue services that night. It was just too dangerous to have their workers out, because in those days we didn't have cell phones. My friends, there are endless stories of where angels appear to offer their aid and then mysteriously disappear. The good news about being a minister is that we hear all kinds of stories, and I have heard some stories on that and about that angelic realm. And being a minister, this comes with perks. Not only do we get good deals, if you say, I'm a minister, do you mind giving me a discount? You didn't know that? Oh, you gotta, I'll train you. But being a minister, people don't think you're weird when you ask them if they believe in angels. So this last week, I just decided to ask people here and there, and I asked my facialist, and she had a great story. Her name is Sue. And as Sue was walking to her car late at night after a party at a nearby pub, she turned the corner to head to the parking garage, and a man appeared out of nowhere and began following her. She knew immediately, there was just this energy, she just knew immediately that she was in trouble. So Sue walked faster and began to just inwardly ask her angels for help. As the man accelerated, he just began to just getting like right behind her, and she then started to run. And then, out of nowhere, another man appeared on the other side of the street. And he held up his hand, waving, and he said, "There you are," and hurried over to Sue. Everything inside of her told her that she was being rescued. She said that she felt this instant relief, a sense of great peace and security just came from this stranger. And so he crossed the street, whispered to her, "You are safe now. I'll just see you to your car." And Sue said that she just nodded her head. She was unable to speak. It was like her vocal cords were frozen. She peered over her shoulder and saw that the man that was about ready to chase her down turned around, went to the other direction. And her kind rescuer walked her to her car in the parking garage. She put her seatbelt in, she rolled down the window to thank him, and he completely disappeared. She drove around the parking garage looking for him to thank him, but she never could find him. Friends in high places. Friends in high places. There's a great little book called Hiring the Heavens, which we have at our Wings. I love that now, Wings Bookstore. Little did we know that Wings Bookstore would have a lot to do with angels. So it's Hiring the Heavens by Jean Slater, and she talks about the idea of hiring angels that are willing to work 24/7 in exchange for love. And she states that there are angels of all sorts of talents: financial angels, romantic angels, real estate angels, waiting to assist us, but we must ask. In 2007, she asked for wise investment angels, and she woke up one morning with a very strong guidance to put her money in something that actually made her money in 2008. So, are angels real? And truly, are they truly around us? Eckhart Tolle says there is no doubt that there are entities that are not physically embodied that are here to help with your connection with God. So, as we know, everything is made out of the essence of God. There's not a spot where God is not. And this essence of God has levels of frequencies, right? And that's when we talk about the third dimension, the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, so forth and so on. Dimensions of frequencies, if you will. Angels are spiritual beings with a much different frequency compared to this third dimensional human experience that we are having. And through research, I have been told that the frequency of angels is just one step down from the pure essence of God. They act as a conduit to a pure, higher dimension, to this essence of God. Recently, I have been asked questions like, why do you think there's so much going on right now? With a possible war, a recession, prices of groceries and gas going up, what is going on? Well, I can't say for sure, but I have come to the conclusion that there is a lot of spiritual activity going on. For me, I have got to believe that with all that is going on in the world, more and more people are waking up and reaching for higher dimensions and a higher truth. Because this third dimension that we see out in the world is kind of cray-cray right now. The truth is, as we reach to a higher frequency where angels reside, they are ready to lead us into a new and wonderfully evolved levels of life on earth, ready to guide us through the rough spots. They are your protectors. They are your guides, benefactors, whose only purpose is to care for you, waiting to be called on. My friends, we do live in a spiritual universe. Maybe we should listen more carefully and call upon the assistance of these messengers of God. Chances are, there are people in this sanctuary, family, friends, who have had angel experiences. And so if you choose, during our fellowship hour this morning, maybe if you're brave enough, ask those around you, do you believe in angels? And if so, have you ever had an encounter with one? I'm willing to bet that you're going to hear some pretty good stories. I think the more we establish greater connection with our celestial friends, the more at peace we will feel, the safer we will feel, and the more secure we will feel. Because we can trust that there is a presence beyond our physical sight that is supporting and guiding us. So as you go on through your day today, consider taking a moment to thank your angels and never, ever stop asking them for celestial help and intervention. And what their message is for you, you are not alone. You have friends in high places.
As we say in the softball world, she hit a home run. Bam. As our Unity singers are coming forward and our ushers are coming forward as well, you know, in our society today, we place value on a lot of things, the things we're ordering from Amazon, the coffee from special places, and cookies and cakes and clothing and all those kind of things. But sometimes we don't talk about the value that we are receiving in spiritual community and the value of a community that is teaching us how to think, not what to think. And the value that many of us, I attribute the fact that I am alive, that at 19 years old, someone thought enough of me to bring me into a unity community. It freed me forever. So I ask you today in your heart, what value do you place upon that as you're putting your love offering, more than your love, in the basket? And we just give thanks. So, shall we? So we've been having so much fun through the leadership with Carol of the Expo Sunday, which we had last week. And isn't it wonderful? Yes, isn't it wonderful? So we've been having a lot of fun. And so we're starting an umbrella campaign. So we will be able to feature more vendors outside. So we are raising it for $2,000. So if you would like to contribute to all the umbrellas or some of the umbrellas, we will gladly receive your energy. Right? Yes, thank you. This coming Wednesday, we don't do a lot of community announcements, but this one's very important. This coming Wednesday, we're pleased to announce that a special presentation on sustainable agriculture will be offered at the UCSB Sustainability Summit, Wednesday at 10:45 a.m. John Chester, the Emmy Award filmmaker, who made a very popular film about the challenges of his Biggest Little Farm based in Moore Park. David Camarillo, owner, I'm learning, I'm bilingual, English, Southern, and now I'm getting this one. Love learning. Bill Camarillo, owner of one of the largest composting companies in America, Agriman, is that correct? Agriman, who specializes in producing premium quality organic compost, and our very own James McMahon, the founder of the Living Earth Foundation that specializes in training agrochemical farmers how to quickly and profitably transition to organic certification. Jim, would you like to, James, would you stand? So, They would love to see you there. Today we have a bake sale of all kind of goodies and possibilities, and it's a fundraiser for our community. So let's thank all of our helpers for that. All right. Our new ministry here, just a couple of months old, October 23rd. So remember, you may not want to adopt a pet. We're very happy for you. I bet you know people that do. Hello? Yes, October 23rd, we will have pets to be adopted here on Sunday. You just bark right on. I will put you out there too. Okay. November 2nd, Dr. Gay Hendricks, that's Wednesday night. Dr. Gay Hendricks will be speaking about the big leap. And then, as I already said, the chaplain training and youth department will be returning. We have the wonderful Gourmets for God, which is a way of knowing people, getting together with people. Many of you have signed up as a host to have a particular theme of inviting people to your home, and Reverend Cathy will be available to answer more questions about that. Yes, after the service. Hallelujah. Wow. All right, and again, those of you that are here for the first time, we urge you to come again because every week is very different here. Trust me, every week is very different here. Yes, and so there you go. Let us stand as we prepare for our peace song. And peace begins right here and right now. Let us affirm together our unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a wonderful week, everyone.
be